Greetings, greetings, different digs. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor or student. Mostly in the frame of mind of surviving as a Pilates instructor. And did you miss me yesterday? There was no broadcast yesterday because I was moving. Not just moving doing Pilates and moving as I please, but moving boxes and furniture, and along with zest and pleasure comes spontaneously responding to, your daily life. And my daily life was pretty full yesterday. And I was grateful that I have a routine of doing Pilates, specifically the intermediate reformer, on an almost daily basis. And then last night, one of the things that went by on social media for me was a quote by David Beckham. And it's the only thing I have to talk about today, really, because, well, it's a big thing insofar as his quote says he does 1 hour of Pilates every day. And he's never felt better. Why is that? See, what is the Pilates that he's doing, or what is he getting out of Pilates that would lead him to a daily hour routine of Pilates? And is it the same thing no matter, is he doing it alone or is he doing it with an instructor? And in either event, what is he doing? And if it's Pilates, what is Pilates that makes it worth doing? And so, from the MMP point of view, which is all that I have to share with you, he's spending an hour a day in spring tension. Now, maybe he's doing an hour of mat. That's highly unlikely, right? And so, if it's Pilates in some way and it's not mat, that in some way it's other apparatus, and the other apparatus that is original Pilates apparatus has springs in it, because the springs help you interact with and listen to the dynamic tension you create with the springs in preparation for the day when you treat your body like a spring. And the external springs and the internal springs, it's an hour of spring tension. It's an hour of seeking uniform engagement. It's an hour of contrology develops the body uniformly. So the hour that he says he's doing, from my point of view, I would hope that that's doing whatever he's doing uniformly engaged. And it's the spring tension of the apparatus that so facilitates and exhausts your whole body effort. Because the springs not only are the tension themselves, but they also act to support your load, to allow you to more uniformly engage yourself in your body. And of course, it helps to be seeking to coordinate your being, your thinking, and your observing. But observing alone doesn't give you the body that you want. It's the exercises, it's the choreography, either original or ideal off of that, right? That is the conditioning for the 3D space you occupy in the gravity field that you live in. So if you're teaching and someone walks in and you have an hour open next, and the person behind the desk, signs you up for someone that needed a Pilates session, and it turns out to be David Beckham, who you already know does an hour a day, right? How would you instruct that student? Easy, because you know what it's about. You know about coordinating being, thinking, and observing, and you know about familiar and the merry-go-round of learning, carousel of learning, and so you know that the place to start is from the familiar. And so it'd be like, okay, and he may not know that he knows that I know that they're famous and that they do a lot of Pilates. I don't know them at all, say they're in disguise. But here's somebody that's really fit and really into Pilates. How would you be their instructor? Without having to read a whole file on what the issues are and what their history is. None of that. They've signed a release, right? You have insurance, right? But then it's like, okay, when I ask the student, okay, what do you want to do? Almost always they say, well, you're the teacher. I'll do whatever you want. And I'll go, great, let's do the mat. And I've turned to go to do the mat, and before my foot lands in that direction, the student usually says, well, and whatever they say after that is something that means other than mat. Why? Because they want into the springs. They don't really know why, or maybe they do, but into the springs is where you get that whole body engagement that they offer. Involvement with them offers. And so then if they don't want to do the mat, sometimes they'll say barrel or reformer or Cadillac, but almost always they're into reformer, so it's okay, we go do the reformer. And then it's show me what you know or what's familiar. Now what you want to have in here is the order of the reformer at different levels. But the way to do that is to memorize the A to Z and then be able to take out different levels from the whole sequence. So that assumes, as an instructor, that you know what you're talking about. I got to sneeze a lot. And they start off, and you're there to observe and to sweep. It's a broomstick that you're sweeping with, and poles and straps and springs, all that kind of stuff. And you're off and running. And see, when does a Pilates instructor's job start? It doesn't start until they see movement, because Pilates is corrective exercise. And a Pilates instructor is participating in the corrective loop until the student knows how to do that for themselves. Right? At least with MMP, the idea is to empower a student to understand what the method is and how to explain it and how to find the complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit on their own, and hopefully how to empower others to do that as well. Because the first thing you do when you fall in love with Pilates is you want to share it with somebody else, like anything you love, right? And then whatever movement they do, you may see or not see anything to add to. It's like, is that the best you can do, right? Or what's the purpose of this exercise when you're doing it, as you understand it, right? But that question, right, is a teacher question. That's a thinking question. And you're much better as an instructor giving instructions about breathing fast, breathing sooner, or waiting for the inhale bus, right? Anything that takes your student into the cave of their own sensation. And no matter how much someone has done Pilates, you never know at what level they're familiar with doing it. And the point is, well, and then it's nice for me to know that, well, the last exercise, and it's just my way of thinking of it, is inversions on the Cadillac, because the mat goes from supine to standing, and then if you're really in your body, as Pilates would have you be, uniformly engaged, then being inverted will be no different and no strain, because what it takes to be uniformly engaged standing up is the same thing it takes to be uniformly engaged standing up upside down. I know. I'm not going to say it. You know it though, right? What does that take? It takes an awareness of core nutension and an engagement of core nutension through your endpoints to really have a masterful control of your posture in space. You become the spring. You are the spring. The instructor is the most dynamic spring in the studio. And to the extent that you have any health at all or any strength at all as an instructor, and you don't have to, but through most of my time teaching Pilates, I've been strong enough and well enough to put a hand out in preparation to support a load if it was needed. You know, if they needed help or whatever. And then, of course, to actually provide the support like a pillar. I'm thinking like in hand or however you might be spotting a student, right? But as an instructor, it's not just about spotting. It's about being in the right place at the right time so that when things head south, they really don't at all, because you head it off and you limit the degree it goes south to the point of it wasn't even noticed. Okay? So know what you know. And know when some big celebrity says they do 1 hour of Pilates every day and they've never felt better, know that whatever you call Pilates, if within the MMP point of view, the effort is after uniform engagement. Because that's the best the body can feel, is when the body feels whole and complete and is sustaining its load through space as uniformly as possible. Know what you know. Because life can't live forever. Read between the lines. See behind the curtain. Add two and two. Appreciate perspectives. Add two and two means money for one thing, and just reach a conclusion in your own mind for another. You know, it's up to you to assemble the dots. It's up to you to assemble a perspective on what you know and relative empowerment or skill or direction that what you know gives you, right? From everywhere, from anywhere. Julian Hessel did a great demonstration on holding two poles and working on stepping up onto a low chair to where you don't need the poles and your hands can be on your hips and you have control in space. She needs a PayPal Pay Me account. Because all I can do now is just share it. Down there on my Facebook feed, there's a PayPal Pay Me, Michael Miller Pilates. That's my keyword. So when you're ready to order a DVD or have looked at all the ones you've seen, want to see something new maybe, I'm considering editing old footage and coming out with something new. Nothing great, but something new. Appreciate perspectives. Direct your own thinking. Because if you don't, somebody else will. Geist.